contact with the family members of those who lost their lives in this terrible tragedy. They will be providing them with resources they will need to get through this tough time, and also provide updates on our investigation. Accurate information regarding fatalities and injuries stemming from this accident will be provided by the local medical examiner. The NTSB GO team arrived last night, so today was our first day on scene, first full day. I want to briefly give you some background on who we are, our processes and procedures, followed by some factual information about the ongoing investigation, steps our team is taking here on the ground, and what you can expect from us in the coming days. The NTSB is an independent federal agency charged by Congress to investigate all civil aviation accidents and significant accidents in the other modes of transportation. Our mission is to determine the probable cause of the accidents and issue safety recommendations to prevent future tragedies like this from ever happening again. We do not assign blame or liability. We are here on scene to gather perishable evidence, which our team methodically and systematically reviews throughout the course of the investigation to determine the probable cause. We have a team of 16 experts from the NTSB here with us, being led by our investigator in charge, Dan Baker. Dan is a senior accident investigator with more than 25 years experience at accident investigations, both at the NTSB and the Air Force. Dan and our team are also supported by our deputy investigator in charge, Andrew Swick, and he is currently at the accident site at this time. I want to emphasize this is the beginning of a very long process, and we will not jump to any conclusions while we're here on scene in North Carolina, nor will we speculate. Early this morning, we held an organizational meeting where we established parties to the investigation. The NTSB offers party status to those we believe provide needed technical or specialized expertise to the investigation. Eventually, each investigative group, which I will describe in a minute, will produce a factual report, which each of the parties will verify its accuracy. Importantly, however, parties do not participate in the analysis or the report writing. Parties to the investigation so far are the Federal Aviation Administration, and they are always a party to an aircraft accident, and Textron Aviation Incorporated, which was the manufacturer of the aircraft. Additionally, Pratt & Whitney Canada, the engine manufacturer, is serving as technical advisor to the investigation. As part of our investigation, we formed groups to examine specific areas of interest in depth. These groups include subject matter experts from the parties of our investigation, working in conjunction with our NTSB specialists on the factual portions of the investigation. For this accident, we have established the following parties. First one is systems. They will examine components of the airplane's hydraulic, electrical, navigational, pneumatic, and associated systems, together with instruments and elements of the flight control system. The group will also examine the maintenance records. Another group is power plants, which will examine engines and the engine accessories. And the final group we have at this time, although we can add groups if necessary, is operations, which will document the history of the flight and the crew members' flight experience, training, and certification. A preliminary report of this accident is expected within 30 days. However, a full investigation last 12 to 18 months before a final report is released. The information that we provide today is preliminary, and it's subject to change during the course of this investigation. I would now like to turn it over to our investigator in charge, Dan Baker, to share some factual information. Dan.
Thank you, Member Graham. The aircraft was manufactured in 1981 by the Cessna Aircraft Company, and it was registered to GB Aviation Leasing, LLC. The airplane had taken off at approximately 10:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, about 10 minutes prior to the accident. The airplane had departed from runway 28 at the Statesville Regional Airport. Preliminary ADSB data showed the airplane made an initial left turn to the west, followed by another left turn back to the east towards the airport, approximately 5 minutes after takeoff. The airplane then flew a left base turn to runway 28. The initial point of impact was a runway light stanchion located about 1,800 feet from the runway threshold. The airplane subsequently impacted trees, 2 other runway light stanchions, and the airport perimeter fence short of the runway threshold before coming to rest near the runway threshold. The airplane also came to rest oriented on an easterly heading. Post-impact fire consumed the majority of the fuselage and the inboard wing sections. All 4 corners of the airplane and flight control surfaces have been identified in the wreckage and the debris field. Both engines were present with the main wreckage. At the time of the accident, visual meteorological conditions prevailed with drizzle and broken ceilings at 1,200 and 2,200 feet, as well as a 5,000-foot ceiling were present. The wind was calm with 5 statute miles visibility. I will now hand it over to Member Graham for any questions.
A few more things before I take questions. We are analyzing radar, ADSB data, video footage, witness statements, audio recordings, and more as part of our investigation. We will also begin coordinating wreckage removal as part of our standard investigation process, and we can move the wreckage to a safe location, make sure it's secure, and so we can follow up and conduct further analysis. I can also confirm that our team was able to locate and recover the cockpit voice recorder, the CVR, one of the black boxes from the aircraft. The aircraft, as we know, it only had the CVR, did not have a flight data recorder, nor was it required to have either one of these for this flight. And that cockpit voice recorder is en route back to Washington, D.C. right now to be analyzed. I'd like to ask if anyone in the public has any photos, videos, door camera video, debris, or were witnesses to this accident. We ask that you please contact us via email at witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that is witness@ntsb.gov. We will provide further updates as they become available. Our team will remain here on the ground in North Carolina as long as we believe it is necessary to gather evidence for our investigation. You can follow the NTSB on X at NTSB_newsroom or on our website at ntsb.gov for the latest information. Finally, I would like to give a heartfelt thanks to in gratitude to the first responders who responded to this accident, as well as the medical examiner's office, the airport director, local and state law enforcement, and all those who have been assisting our investigation since before we arrived and as we arrived here on scene. I know they've been working very hard, and we appreciate them securing the site for us and keeping it safe while we are here. and we appreciate all they have done. I will now take a few questions, but before I do, I would like to ask you to raise your hand. When I call on you, please state your name and your affiliation. Right here.
Chris Benavides with CBS News. Just a couple of questions. Do we know who was piloting the aircraft?
Chris's question is, do we know who was piloting the aircraft? At this time, we have been unable to verify who was flying the airplane. We do know 3 of the occupants did possess a pilot's license, but we have been unable to verify that at this time. But that is one of the things we're working on.
And just a couple more questions.
One follow-up, please.
One follow-up, okay. Was there a Mayday call?
The question was there a Mayday call? We are not aware that there was a Mayday call. Right here.
During the accident at Glennick, the plane tried to return back to land. Do we know why that happened? Was it a mechanical issue or anything of that nature?
The question is, we believe the plane was turning back to the airport immediately, maybe for some kind of issue. At this point, we are not aware if there was an actual issue or not. We are studying a lot of things. We are trying to get recordings from the various frequencies that the aircraft may have been on, and any other witness statements that may have heard anything on the common frequency. Right there.
Gary Robertson, Associated Press. What can you tell us about any indications of any problems with the plane as it was going out and then coming back in?
The question is, what can we tell you about if we know of anything of any issues or problems with the airplane as it was going out and that it returned to the airport? At this point, we haven't been able to verify anything. We've seen things in the media and stuff like that, but that's not verification. We're talking to witnesses, and we're trying to look at or listen to recordings and whatever to see if there was any issue, but we haven't been able to verify anything at this point. Right there.
Joe Marusak, fellow observer. What was the duration of time from takeoff to the crash?
The question is, what was the duration of time from takeoff to the crash? It was approximately 10 minutes. Right there.
Chris Peterson, WXI-TV. Have you had the opportunity to interview witnesses yet, and what kind of information have you been able to garner from those witnesses?
The question is have we had an opportunity to interview any of the witnesses at this point, and what kind of information have we received? At this point, we are doing some interviews right now on site. We're looking for additional witnesses. That's why I've put that out during the briefing. But we don't have anything to share. It's much too early to talk about any of that, and that would be go into our analysis section. Let me come over here. Anybody over here?
Jen Cardone, Queen City News. Was this C-550 citation jet single pilot or 2 pilots approved or required?
The question is, was the citation 550 single pilot or 2 pilot approved? The answer is both. Okay. It depends. I believe that at this point there is a waiver that you can have to single pilot operate that aircraft, and many pilots of this type of aircraft fly this aircraft single pilot with the waiver, and it can also be flown with a crew. Question is, did the weather play any role in this accident? Well, the weather was visual flight rules, but there were low ceilings out there, and there was heavy drizzle at the time. So that is one of the 3 things that we really mainly look at. We look at the people operating the aircraft, we look at the aircraft itself, and then we look at the environment, and the weather is one of those we look at and will look at very closely. Let me come over here.
Pete Bailey, WSOC. Off the end of the runway, in that golf course area, that roadway right there, can you talk about some of the damage? I saw your guys out looking in that area today. Some of the things you found out there.
Sure. The question is about what is some of the damage we've seen just short of the runway 28 that we were looking at today and continue to look at. As Dan had said, the first contact was with some of the approach lighting system. There were several approach lighting systems coming to that, lights coming to that runway that were hit by the aircraft. There was also a tree line on the edge of the golf course before hitting the service road or the aircraft perimeter road out there. That many tree limbs and the trees were knocked down and broken off at that point.
Just a quick follow-up. Did it hit the ground prior to getting to the runway? Do we know if that happened?
The question is, did the aircraft hit the ground prior to getting to the runway? The response to that is yes, it did hit the ground before getting to the runway.
Outside the fence of the airport, would that be accurate to say? Or do you
The outside the airport, at the fence is what the question is. It's right in that vicinity is where the witness marks are. So we're still evaluating that at this time. Right here.
Katie Solt, WBTV, was the proximity of the trees to the runway believed to be a factor at all in the plane's attempt to make an emergency landing?
The question is, was the proximity of the trees to the airport a factor in the plane's ability to land at the airport? The airport actually sits a little bit up on the hill on the plateau, so the trees would have been in line with the lighting above the ground. So we do have witnesses that said the aircraft came in very low. Okay, me over here, right in the back.
Dan with Firewire Communications. The plane took off on runway 10 by what we've been able to see online, and it came back to land at runway 28. Have you talked to the airport director to see why there was any reason he didn't land on runway 10 and made the turn to go to 28?
So the question is, the aircraft took off on runway 10, and when it came back, it landed on runway 28. We are still evaluating why. As we looked at the winds, either direction would be appropriate. You normally want to land into the wind. There was reported no wind at that time. So that's one of the things we're looking at this point. It's going to be some time to get to that.
Have you been able to, I'm sorry, Dave Verity with Channel 9. Have you been able to determine if there were possibly maybe some other aircraft in the area that forced him to make the go-around?
Question is, were there maybe some other aircraft in the area that forced him to go around? At this time, we're not aware of any, but we're looking at any radar, ADSB data. I don't think we saw any initially on the ADSB data out there that there were other aircraft. That's all I have on that at this time. Blue Jack.
Jeremy from Charlotte, Joe Marie / Charlotte Observer. Just a follow-up question. What was the length of the debris field?
The question is, what was the length of the debris field? I think we believe the first contact was 1,800 feet from the approach end of the runway. So it's fairly long, and it is scattered wide and out. So it's going to take some time to document all of that. We were unable to get our drone launched today with the high winds. So we want to get that digitally documented with the drone here, hopefully tomorrow, and we'll get a better idea of how wide and how much debris is out there. Right there.
We'll try to make this talk save you. What type of information might witness statements or people providing pictures and videos give you that you wouldn't be able to find otherwise?
The question is, what kind of statements or evidence might witnesses or videos be able to provide us? Videos sometimes will tell us a lot, give us additional information about maybe where the aircraft first struck the trees or something like that. Additional video on approach would be really helpful to us to get an idea of how high or low that aircraft was. Witnesses sometimes with something they heard, something they saw, things like that. We've received a lot of things, but we have been unable to verify any of it at this point, and any of it as being credible. Right there.
Robert Silva, AP. There have been some media reports about one of the victims texting a family member saying, quote, "we're in trouble." Are you aware of that text, its veracity, and or is it playing a role in your investigation?
Question is, there may have been a report of somebody texting out from the aircraft that they were in trouble. At this time, we're not aware of that. If somebody is aware of a text or anything like that, please make us aware of it and let us know via email, and then we'll contact you. The same with the videos. If you have a video, contact us, and we'll give you a way to send it to us, because sometimes those videos don't always come across with a straight email. Right there. Question is, do we have an ETA of when the airport will open? At this time, I can't tell you that. Like like I said, we still are in the process of documenting the accident site, and it'll be at least through tomorrow at this point. Right.
Going back to the athletic, you said some witnesses had said the plane was coming in very low. What else have witnesses said about anything they may have seen?
Question is, I made a mention of some witnesses talked about the aircraft being very low, and you're asking what have other witnesses said. At this point, we haven't been able. I haven't been able to speak with our team on that, and it's information that we want to first verify before we're definitely sure. I mean, we're able to verify the aircraft was low because of the contact with the approach lighting and the trees, but the rest of it we haven't been able to verify at this point. Two more questions. Okay.
A follow-up, this specific type of Cessna, have there been past issues or crash investigations with this specific type of plane, maybe how many are prevalent?
The question is, have we had similar investigations and crashes of this aircraft and everything? We do a lot of crash investigation out there. There's quite a few every year. I'd say this aircraft has been around a long time, and there are quite a few of them still in service. So I would say, aviation's very safe, and I don't see any specific issues with this aircraft that are significant compared to any others at this point. Last one.
You may have answered this earlier. How old is the aircraft itself?
How old is the aircraft is the question. It was manufactured in 1981, and there's a lot of aircraft out there that are a lot older than that. As long as you keep up with your maintenance and inspection programs that all these aircraft should be on, they can fly for quite a long time. Okay? That's all I have. Thank you.